Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Excuse me. How's everybody doing? Good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are across these 7 continents. So much going on in the sport of boxing. You know, sometimes we get caught up just talking about the more popular fighters and we can forget some of the lesser known. But you know, I try to touch and cover a little bit on everybody. But there's one person in particular, man, who really impressed me. And I'm gonna talk about a lot of people in this video. But Ramon Cardenas, he destroyed Robles, and this wasn't just any kind of win. You know, you can see some talent in these fighters. You know, you can see some who have it, some who they have to work a little harder, and some who they just don't have it. You know what I'm saying? But I just think for Cardenas, clipping Robles, it wasn't just a win, it was a career-defining statement. And from the opening bell, Cardenas he just showed he was levels above him, man. Make sure this volume is all the way up on this thing. Okay, yeah. When I watch these fighters, right, I look for timing, I look for the angles that are being used, I look for adjustments, I look for pivots, I look for clinching, I look for shoulder checks, head placement in the clinch to make sure the head is on the resting on the shoulder. Or I look for a lot of different things when I watch him fight. And last night when I watched Cardenas, he was sharp. His punch placement was on point, very intentional with what he did. And most importantly, he just had bad intentions. You know, he wasn't in there looking to coochie coo, chicken peck and tickle. He was looking to get in there and knock out his opponent. And you know, that's what you want when it comes to these guys and when it comes to them getting into this boxing ring. And when you have somebody who's looking for bad intentions, they're not looking to win rounds necessarily. They're just looking to fight hard and win early, go home early. They don't get paid for overtime. Now with Robles could fight, but Cardenas, you could just tell it was going to be Cardenas' night. But Robles had moments where he tried to assert himself, but the difference in physicality and confidence was quite obvious, man. You know, Cardenas walked him down, broke him down, and took his will. And when you have a fighter who's used to coming forward, where they're able to come forward and fight their fight, normally their opponent is in trouble. And that's what you saw last night. You know, Cardenas, he wanted to walk down his opponent, Robles, and that's what he was able to do. Walk him down, chop him down, and get him out of there. And he just took his will, man. Now, conversely, if you get a fighter who's used to coming forward, going backward, kind of like what we saw when Oscar De La Hoya fought Ricardo Mayorga. When you get a man backing up who doesn't want to back up, his ass is in trouble. But that's not what we saw last night. And I just think when you have a guy like Cardenas who's able to put on a performance like this, I think it starts to create that separation from prospect and from contender. And he is a guy, especially after this fight, nobody can say Cardenas isn't ready for tougher names. This was domination. This wasn't matchmaking. It almost seemed unfair. So it's really time for Cardenas to step up, to be that contender that he is, and see if he can get to the next level in boxing. Now, speaking of somebody trying to get to the next level and someone who's trying not to get to the next level, Romero seems to be putting duck sauce on the fried rice. Quack, quack. Why won't he fight Devin Haney? Now, we all know Devin Haney can scrap. Devin Haney is a little bit awkward. I still think Devin Haney is hesitant. I still think he lacks some confidence. But the bottom line is, even though Devin Haney is still out here the shakiest gun in the West like Don Knotts and shit, Devin Haney going to figure out a way to win, even while fighting scared. But I just think the Devin Haney and Rolly Romero situation tells us everything about risk versus reward in boxing. With Rolly Romero, he brings entertainment, you know, he brings chaos, he brings personality, but Devin brings elite discipline, he brings IQ, and he does bring a sense of punishment inside the ring without making many mistakes. And he knows especially he can't afford to make any mistakes because a lot of us aren't quite sold that Devin Haney is back, even though he got a win over Brian Norman Jr., tranquilized man. But I just think when you look at Rolly and his perspective, this is a nightmare matchup. If Rolly and Devin fought, that shit would be a nightmare, man. You know, Haney doesn't brawl recklessly. He doesn't overextend. He doesn't give openings. He just runs around the ring, you know. Worst of all for Rolly, Haney makes fighters look exposed, not heroic in defeat. So I can understand Rolly saying, man, I am not messing with this guy. I got to get in there trying to chase after him. He's going to try to dart in and out, and it's just going to be frustrating because a guy like Rolly Romero, his brand relies a lot on unpredictability, a lot on bravado. Losing a one-sided technical fight to Haney, I think that would hurt his brand more than a knockout loss to a puncher because it would almost make it look like he's just not qualified to put on boxing gloves. Like, it would make him look horrible. But we as true boxing fans know fighting Devin Haney is not an easy fight. You fight Devin Haney, you're just not going to look good. You're just not going to look good. Okay? That's why you'd rather get in there with somebody where you have a better chance of landing a shot. And even if you lose, at least you got knocked out, but you were able to show, what's in your toolbox. With Devin, you ain't getting to show shit except frustration on your face. But although I kind of feel somebody's putting some duck sauce on the fried rice. And maybe Rolly is, right? Maybe Rolly's putting duck sauce on the fried rice. But it's not because he's scared. I just think Rolly's looking and saying, man, you know what? I don't have any problem fighting Devin, but the business math just isn't, it's not adding up. Get in here with this guy, Devin, why? I think that's how Rolly's looking at it. Like, I'm not going to make gazillions of dollars. I'm going to be in here with him, and he's almost going to feel like he's, for the kind of money that he's going to make, it's not worth the risk of getting into a disastrous fight with a guy like Devin. Now, if they were paying Rolly $10 million, he'd fight him because he wouldn't care. You'll get that $10 million, but I just don't think they're paying him enough money to go in there and just go ahead and stink up the place fighting a guy like Devin Haney. Talking about stinking up the place, Conor Benn. He went out here and beat Chris Eubank Jr. in a fight where Chris Eubank Jr. was just heavily handicapped, right? Now Conor Benn wants to puff out his chest and parade around, you know what I mean, and strut his stuff and shit like he's the show pony, like he's the golden child. So much so that he decided to go out there and confront and disrespect a retired 3-time world champion. And it's a British world champion, man. I can't remember the guy's name. I didn't even feel like looking this shit up. But what I'll tell you is it rubbed fans the wrong way, especially in the UK. One thing about British culture, they place heavy value on respect for the fighters who built the sport, especially for fighters coming out from the UK. And this is what Conor Benn has got to realize. He needs to stop. Just because right now he's kind of in good graces with the people, nobody forgot the fact that his ass was out there doing pets. And for me, I said I won't bring it up no more. But since he wants to come out here and confront, one of the elders, and be disrespectful towards him, like he's gonna go out there and punch him and fight him and all that. He want to go out there and play Al Capone. So since you want to do that, Conor Benn, I gotta tell you, hey yo, hold your horses. Stop taking it to the stupid. Because the only thing you're known for in boxing is being a fucking cheat. Okay? So I wasn't going to even talk about it, but I seen him out there going at the old head like that. I don't respect that shit. You're a young guy. You're full of confidence. You're in your prime. You want to come out here, man, and be aggressive towards the old head. Why? Because he said you were on peds or whatever he said. I don't know what. I think it's something along those lines. Everybody says that about you. Everybody believes your ass was on peds. The only reason that, you're kind of in the good grace with people because you and Eubank Jr., you better thank him. You guys gave the fans, globally, fans were sitting there saying those two guys deserve the utmost respect. So they set aside your bullshit. But now you're going to come and do something like this? So you want to put the attention back on you? That was your moment to sit there and go and be respectful to the guy and say, hey, do you mind if I talk to you? You know, I saw when you said this and that. I just want to know why, why'd you say that? Why'd you feel that way? And you could have had a conversation with him. No cameras would have been on it. And no one would have known what y'all were talking about. But instead, you want to go out there and play Al Capone. You want to go out there, man, and go gangster. You know what I'm saying? Be NWA. We don't respect that. I don't respect that. So I'm just going to tell you this. Just like we should respect the fighters who built the sport, nobody should respect a fighter like you who fucking was taking pets. Simple. Get out of here. So you can try to assert yourself as a new face, but change your attitude, man. There's a difference between confidence and then trying to erase history because your butt is hurt because somebody's talking about something that your ass did. So get out of here. Fans don't reject Conor Benn. And let me tell you something. Fans don't respect Conor Benn because he's outspoken. They reject him when he appears dismissive of the sacrifices others made and disrespects the elders. You can't do that, man. And this type of behavior creates a whole lot of pressure. And that's why he's getting it right now from a lot of fans. You can't come out here disrespecting legends. Shouldn't be disrespecting anyone, but especially the legends. Fans don't expect you to be flawless, but they don't expect you to be reckless, especially when dealing with the elders. So any loss now, it won't just be a loss. It'll be a reckoning because everybody looking to see Conor Benn and what he does next. And I tell you what, I think he's going to lose at 147 because he can't fight going back. He's not going to be full of all of his power and everything else because he has to strip off muscle to come back down to 147. And I don't think he beats any of those guys down there. That's just my opinion. Y'all get that shit out your head, what you saw happen there with Eubank Jr. Eubank Jr. was a dead man walking in the first fight, and he beat Conor Benn. In the second fight, Eubank Jr. was a dead man walking. Conor Benn, he got himself a hold of something to get in that ring and perform. Maybe it was harder work, a better work ethic, maybe it was a higher commitment level, maybe it was more discipline. Who knows? Who knows? But whatever it was, he found it for that second fight, and he did the business, and he never took his foot off the gas. And I'm going to tell you right now, that is very, 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 very impressive. But anyway, with Conor Benn, dude could kiss my ass, man, because I don't like disrespecting the old heads. I don't like that. With that being said, somebody who deserves all the respect in the world is Tszyu. Tszyu has returned, and Australia erupts. Tszyu, man, when he came back, his whole return was emotional, it was symbolic, and it was necessary for Tszyu and for the Aussie, oi community. That is what they needed. He had setbacks, he had doubts, he had some bad losses, and he didn't just win, he restored belief not only in himself and his last name for his brother, his father, and the Australians. You see, when it comes to the Aussie, ois, they don't just see Tim as a boxer. You know, they see him as a carrier of legacy, pride, and toughness. He is Costa Tszyu's son. He has never fought any fight scared. And even when he fought a couple of days ago, he didn't fight tentative. He fought like a man who understands his responsibility to the sport and to the fans and to his father. The joy in Australia isn't just about one win. It's about the belief that Tszyu is still very much alive at the top level. Pedro Diaz has made a great change and a great addition to Tszyu and his team. And seeing Tszyu jab to the body, come upstairs with the right hand, and just watching how fast and how watching his punch placement, how precise he was. I was like, man, he hasn't really looked like that in a while. But then again, he wasn't fighting Fundora or fighting Murtazaliev, so, you got to be fair. But the bottom line, to come back and do the business the way he was supposed to, you got to give him all the respect in the world. And he didn't get reckless, and he wasn't just over anxious. He just kind of let the fight come to him. And he did the business. He was in there, man, Ginsuing the dude up, man. Just the ultimate mashup, crash up, breaking bones, cutting up faces, shredding them, just tearing parts of flesh off the guy's body, man. And that's what you want to see from a guy like Tszyu, man. Back at the top, working back to get to the top level. As long as he stays with Pedro Diaz and stays disciplined, I think Tszyu will be just fine. As far as him rematching Fundora Murtazaliev, Maybe somewhere down the line, right now, he doesn't need to think about that. Take your time and incrementally build yourself back up to the position you were in before. Speaking of the Aussie, oys, I just got to tell you, I think Tim Tszyu and Apatai is carrying the island right now. I really do, man. Tim Tszyu and Jai Apatai are representing something deeper than belts. They represent island grit, discipline, and pride. Australia and the Pacific Islands are producing fighters who don't just show up, they dominate. Apatai breaks opponents physically, Tim Tszyu breaks them mentally. Together they become symbols of a region that no longer asks for respect. They demand it. So put some respect on them Australians. Now, one person who gets no respect and will never get any respect is Clarissa Rodney Dangerfield Shields. Still out here talking about how she can beat male fighters. And talking about Layla Ali. But I ain't going to get into the Layla Ali stuff. I'm saving that for another video. I never heard her say, till today, that she felt she could have beat Shawn Porter. To that I say, in the most respectful way, hey, yo, Clarissa Rodney Dangerfield Shields, hold your horses and stop taking it to the stupid, because you don't get no respect. Shawn Porter, Keith Thurman, Rolly Romero, she believes she can beat them. At this point, I'll tell you, fans, they're not even angry, man. Like, we ain't even angry anymore. We're just tired of the bullshit. This issue with her, this shit ain't confidence. I don't care how they try to spin it. It's not confidence. The issue is credibility. Every time the GOAT says things like this, it overshadows her real accomplishments. It invites unnecessary ridicule. It creates noise instead of legacy. It's just a shit sandwich that stinks really badly, man. There's nothing wrong. Let me just make this clear. Because soldiers will be like, oh, hood champion, here you go. We knew you were going to talk about Clarissa Shields, you tail wagger, you wicked sorcerer. Hey, yo, McNicholas, easy. There's nothing wrong with believing in yourself. Everybody should believe in yourself. If you believe, then you'll achieve. We are the world. We are the children. But you ain't putting yourself in a better place if you keep talking, taking it to the stupid and talking shit. She keep talking about challenging male fighters verbally, especially these guys who are elite professionals or were elite professionals, man. Fans got to question your judgment, you know what I'm saying? Not your courage, man. We know you taking it to the stupid, talking about she beat Shawn Porter. Get out of here, Shawn Porter. How you want to talk about that, man? There's nothing to talk about. Keith Thurman, get out of here. Even Rolly. It just doesn't make sense. And talking about the guy who knocked her down, I grabbed his glove and I was like, there's no padding in the glove. Who do she Louis Resto against Billy Collins? Huh? She Billy Collins Sr. that come over there and grab Louis Resto glove? Said there's no padding in this fucking glove. Ref, come here. And then Panama Lewis over there. And the glove they gave us. That's the glove they gave us. She done went and watched goddamn the Louis Resto story or the Billy Collins story, whatever it's called. And now she ain't here trying to replay that bullshit. That's the glove they gave us. That's the glove they gave us. Get out of here with that bullshit, man. That guy dropped your ass. You know why? Because you got caught with a shot you didn't see and you hit the ground. Oh, yeah? That's what happened. You ended up right on your back with your legs in the air. Oh, yeah? That's what happened. Stop with the bullshit, man. At some point, silence becomes power. Learn how to remain reticent. Just shut up. She hasn't learned that yet. I don't know if she'll ever learn that. Just always yipping and yapping. She got tight skin. You know someone like her can't close her mouth? Because the skin tight. The shit just start to constrict her mouth. Just stays open. She can't close her mouth. If she closes her mouth, her asshole opens. So one of the holes need to stay closed. Just ridiculous. Yeah, she would beat Shawn Porter. She would beat Keith Thurman. She would beat Rolly. I would knock those bums out. Sure. Speaking of people getting knocked out, what the hell wrong with Blair Cob? Blair Cob was supposed to be back fighting this weekend, man. Pulled out due to illness or something. You sure that's what happened to Blair Cob? Something happened. I think you got to look at the timing. You got to look at the momentum. He just pull out. That's why people are speculating. I'm not saying them speculating, as far as him being up to no good, if that's fair or not, but something happened. Something happened. But what it just shows is you get a guy like Blair Cob who hasn't been active. He finally has an opportunity, and all of a sudden, he's off the fight card. And we're trying to solve for X. It just shows how fragile opportunities are in boxing. That's what it shows. Opportunities in boxing are very, very fragile. You know what I'm saying? One illness can derail months of preparation, years of positioning. One bad decision to where fans don't really believe what you're giving them as an excuse for pulling out a fight. One bad decision, man, can cause you to lose thousands of fans. And with Blair Cob, it just has fans that kind of looking at him like, can we take him serious? Like, really, I like Blair Cob. I hit him up for an interview. He ain't respond, but whatever, it's all good. But I hit him up twice. He ain't respond. But it's okay. He probably want to go to the bigger channels and shit, and it's all good. But I just need to. I would ask him what happened. I used to do a lot of videos about Blair Cob, and a lot of people were like, "Yo, he's a joke. He's a clown." I'm like, "No, Blair Cob can fight. He can fight." But I would like to know what happened because you end up out in the UK. You're about to fight. All of a sudden, you're off the card. That doesn't make sense. Let me tell you, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. Anyway. Since they're talking about Blair Cob and the speculation about why he pulled out. Maybe he was on pads. Maybe he was sick. We don't know. One thing about Jake Paul, he turned down VADA testing for AJ. Did y'all know that? He sure as hell did. He turned down VADA testing ahead of his potential Anthony Joshua fight that's supposed to take place tonight. That shit is raising eyebrows. The fact that, what's his name? Eddie Hearn came and disclosed it. He said AJ probably took half a dozen, tests leading up to the fight with Jake Paul. Did not. But I just think when you refuse VADA testing in today's boxing climate, I think you send a message. And for me and a lot of fans, this confirms what many already believe, that this isn't a real boxing match. No VADA testing, at least on Jake Paul's part. This shit's a spectacle, man. It's a business event. It's a controlled environment. And I think we're going to see something quirky tonight when they get in the ring. Joshua talking about ending Jake Paul's life. That sounds aggressive. Joshua never talks like that. But if the fight isn't fully regulated and tested, it loses legitimacy before the first bell. And that's kind of how I am. I fully feel the fight is scripted. It's going to be some bullshit we see in there, and it's just going to be a joke. And I'm very surprised with Jake Paul, who's always out here trying to advocate for different things in boxing and for women. And you would think Jake Paul would want to take the VADA test, and he'd want to take the test. And I don't know why he didn't. But anyway, after Anthony Joshua gets in there and does the business with Jake Paul, should he fight Andre Ward? Because Roy Jones is still out here talking his talk. Anthony Joshua should fight Andre Ward. Andre Ward's waiting for him. I just think the idea of AJ fighting Ward is more fantasy than reality. You know what I'm saying? Ward's been retired cleanly and comfortably. Joshua's a heavyweight with size and power advantages. So you look at it stylistically, Ward's IQ is legendary. But inactivity matters, and so does size, and so does age, and so does motivation. This fight only exists as a talking point, not a serious possibility. AJ, if he had an option, you fight Ward or you fight Fury. Who you think he's fighting? He ain't fighting no damn Andre Ward. He's fighting Fury. If they say fight Ward or Deontay Wilder, he's fighting Deontay Wilder. So Ward might as well sit back in the cut and keep doing great things with boxing, because I don't see him ever getting that fight. He's not a draw. And it just is what it is. So at the end of the day, this is boxing in 2025. Chaos, contradictions, brilliance, and frustration all at once. Just kind of how it is. Once you got real fighters proving themselves, entertainers protecting brands, Legends being disrespected and social media blurring the lines between sport and spectacle. And we as fans, we see everything. We see all the bullshit. We know what's going on. We know what's legit and what's not. And just slowly, we as the fans are deciding who deserves respect and who's just making noise. And when you look at all of this, man, there's some fighters who I talked about here who deserve a lot of respect, and a couple other just making noise. So, boxing's losing control. They got the ducking, the disrespecting, fake fights. Then you got real warriors. People not wanting to take VADA testing, talking too much. It is what it is, man. But anyway, y'all keep cool. I'm going to keep talking boxing, exposing the good, the bad, and the ugly. Get ready for the big event tonight. Keep cool. Shout out to the veterans, all 7 councils. Become a member to the channel. In the breeze.